Hello and welcome to The Print. We have with us former Minister and Senior Congress leader Salman Khurshid. Welcome to The Print, sir. He was also part of the delegation, the all-party delegation that visited a host of countries including Korea, Singapore, Indonesia, among others. So now that you are back, a debriefing has also taken place. How would you term your visit?
I think it was eminently successful. We went with a specific objective, which was to give as much information that was available to our interlocutors about how and why Pakistan is involved in that ghastly event in Pelgam on the 22nd of April. If anyone wanted to see any proof that we had, to show them proof, and then seek their solidarity and their support for our fight against terrorism. And I think we were, at least the impression I have is that we were very successful in that.
And when you went there, what were the questions that were asked? What is it that they were sort of interested in knowing? Was it about the ceasefire, the so-called ceasefire, because government has called it a paused?
Not really, really. They were already zeroed in on what we were going to say, which is that terrorism is bad. They were already prepared on what to say about the terrible, terrible impact of terrorism on humanity, on them, many of them, and certainly on India. So they were very, very clear about that. There were some people on the fringes, some people in think tanks, for instance, and some people in the diaspora. They were asking us questions where it became necessary to answer those questions, only to ensure that they didn't feel that we were ignoring what questions they were asking. But that was only on the fringes. The core issue of terrorism was very clear, and many of the countries, Japan, Indonesia, for instance, and Korea, very impressed with our restraint, very impressed with the manner in which we took part in the strikes on the terror network, and the fact that, having achieved our objective, we were willing to stop when we were asked by Pakistan DGMO that there should be a ceasefire, that we agreed to the ceasefire readily. And they all accepted that we have a right to defend ourselves. They all accepted we have a right to defend ourselves. So I think substantively, if we just wanted confirmation from them, we had it. If we needed to clear some cobwebs, we were able to do that. And a general sense of good being, of well-being, and a general sense of support was very, very clearly there.
Were there questions that were also asked about the role of US President Donald Trump?
Not to my knowledge from by any interlocutor. One or two press people might have asked, but not otherwise. I don't think that was anywhere near a main concern of any of the important people that we met.
What was the most challenging part of the visit?
See, the most challenging part of the visit, we were being told, would be Indonesia and Malaysia.
Right.
Only because they are members of the OIC. But frankly, we were most pleasantly surprised with the remarkable response that we had in Indonesia. Remarkable response, including from their very important Muslim organizations. They actually talked to us about moderate Islam. They are the ones who said that moderate Islam is the way ahead, etc., etc. Indonesia. Malaysia, they had some issues, their ground issues of politics in Malaysia after the situation which was there in Malaysia with Mr. Mahathir. Now that Mr. Ibrahim is the Prime Minister, and there are 4 parties, so the Malay support is today divided in 4 parties, and those parties are desperately competing with each other. So the situation in Malaysia was a little bit different, but nevertheless, we got tremendous support from all the people that we met in Malaysia as well.
A number of MPs that I spoke to, they also talked about, there was this entire issue of misinformation, that many of these countries had some preconceived notions.
Sure. That was the case. Many people, in fact, many people in the diaspora talked about Western created perception, Western press created perception, etc. And that's been noted. We conveyed that also to the foreign minister. That's been noted. And I think that by the time we ended our trip, people were already saying that that perception created by the Western press is changing. You know, when with satellite images being given out by Government of India and by other agencies, they said that perception is changing. But there is a little bit of perception that is created by the West, whether it had to do with with aircraft companies that were pushing their aircraft, American versus French, French versus British, etc., etc. Maybe a bit of that played a role. But yes, there was some talk in various places about perceptions created by the Western press.
You just mentioned about how the aircrafts and all. Well, the Congress has also been questioning the government that were aircrafts downed or not, and there should be a special session that should be called.
Sure. But the special session is, frankly, if you ask me, if all of us could go together on behalf of India across the globe, and that's seven such delegations, if we could go across the globe and thereby clarify the picture for our interlocutors, the same thing could have been done here. Any cobwebs, any doubts, any ambiguities could have been cleared very easily by having a special session, which is what the Congress has demanded, and the government, for whatever reason, has not been able to agree. But that might have, some of the speculation that one gets to hear might have been removed if that was the case.
One statement of yours that has become, it's being discussed a lot is on Article 370. Could you tell us?
What is my statement?
No, your statement on Article 370,
No, I want to know.
The abrogation of Article 370
Has
and
it
how
happened?
it is the done
No,
thing.
Simple. Is it the done thing or not? Has abrogation happened?
Yes, it has happened.
It has happened. So for somebody asking me, what about 370? I have to say it's gone. Don't I have to say it's gone? Then somebody says, and what are things like there now? And I should say the things are very bad. Elections have happened, so I said elections have happened. That's all. Now, that has nothing to do with the merits of removing 370 at all. Nothing. It's just a factual statement. It's like, have you had breakfast? And you say, yes, I've had breakfast. And you then write out saying, oh, he's saying that he had the most wonderful breakfast. Now, I'm not putting a subjective quality on the breakfast. If somebody's asking me the truth, have you had breakfast? I'm saying, yes, I've had breakfast. Simple as that. So I don't know, frankly, I don't know what there is to make in it, frankly. Somebody imagines something out of it. Frankly, I'm not there to say, don't imagine that, please, because I was far away. So as far as I'm concerned, the only relevant factor is that everybody wants the statehood to be returned to Jammu and Kashmir. The Supreme Court had been assured that the statehood would return to Jammu and Kashmir, but statehood has not come back to Jammu and Kashmir. That seems to be the only central point that one has to emphasize if anything is to be emphasized at all.
But the alliance partner, Congress is an alliance partner of NC in Kashmir, but they have been talking about bringing back
Nobody asked
Article
me.
370.
Nobody asked me about them. Nobody asked me about them, and they have been talking, and they had it in their manifesto. So they will talk. Of course, they will talk, but we didn't have it in our manifesto, and we've not talked. Therefore, I wish somebody would explain to me that there is a line that you've just missed, right? So it's simple. Statehood, important. Everybody wants statehood. NC wants statehood. The Chief Minister wants statehood. The Congress Party wants statehood. So I think the statehood is what we should concentrate on.
And just a supplementary question to that. There's a post of yours that has been again really discussed a lot, where you say, "Is it so difficult to be patriotic?"
Tell me, is it? I ask people, is it difficult to be patriotic? If it's easy, then I'm surprised that it's easy, because when you try to be patriotic, somebody says that you're favoring the BJP. Now, I didn't go there to favor the BJP. I went there because the BJP felt that it needed other parties to support and show to the world that we are one. And our party, my party, agreed to that proposal. And our party, my party, sent me. And I can only say I'm grateful that you gave me a chance to go and show that I can be patriotic. And if I'm successful in that, who gets the credit for it? The government wants to take credit, it can, but my party also gets credit because my party sent me, or whoever else it sent. My party gets credit also. So it's a good thing that all of us together have said to the world, India is in a state of anxiety. India wants terrorism to come to an end. We have paid a very heavy price for terrorism. Please, please join us in the effort to put an end to it. That's all we had to say. That's what I believe was a patriotic cause. Now, if somebody has speculation and does speculation and says, why now, why this, why that, then I can only answer by saying it's very difficult to be a patriot. If it is not, please tell me, no problem.
And why many are also asking this question is because Congress had a lot of issues with the names that were finalized by the government to be to be sent as part of the delegation.
Of course, Congress was not the only party that had issues. TMC also had issues. TMC said, we will send somebody, but we will send the person we want to send. Congress also has the right to say that, and Congress has the right to send some people. I had indicated to the Congress that it must decide who it wants to send. And finally, whatever the Congress must have said or done, finally the Congress said, please go. So I didn't say, no, I won't go now, so late, etc., etc. Whenever the Congress said, please go, I said, thank you, I'll go. I advised the Congress, don't send me.
Why is that?
Because I thought I would have greater freedom if I remained here and didn't go. Because I assumed that by going there would be some constraints, if nothing else, just constraints of consistency, constraints of courtesy that one would be bound by. And therefore I requested, I said, please, it'd be good if you don't send me. But the Congress took a call and said, no, please go. So I did. My party asked me, I did it. And I tried to do it to the best of my ability. And then I kept reporting to the Congress what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, etc. And that's the end of the matter. So I can only say that let the credit go to the Congress, not come to me, but let it go to the Congress that we collaborated and cooperated with the government when it came to India's profile across the globe and India's plea that it is time that the world stepped in to prevent terrorism being inflicted on India time and time again.
Why I've also asked this is because another Congress leader, Shashi Tharoor, he has faced a lot of criticism. But within the Congress, also many
I frankly don't know
spokespersons.
why. Frankly, I don't know why. But that's only Shashi can answer. I've not met Shashi for a very long time. And Shashi is in a different part of the world. I think he's in the US today, etc. So I don't know. I mean, we weren't constantly in touch when we were on the delegation. It wasn't like, we were connected and we were each coordinating and being in touch and resounding and replicating what each one was saying. So I don't know. And if there is a question, then I'm sure that Shashi is capable of answering that question. And he could be asked. I can only say that Shashi is a friend and he's a very talented person. But why these questions are being put to him or why he's being asked these questions, I don't know.
The delegation also represents diverse, backgrounds in terms of religion, in terms of, experience. I mean, if I had to ask you that as a Muslim, representing India, was there any, challenge that you faced?
No more than when a Muslim fights for India at the border. No more. I mean, there is a commonality of religion between us and the people who perpetrated that horrible crime upon us. But that's where it ends. It ends there. And therefore, you feel proud that you're going out for your country. You feel proud for you're going out for your entire family. Family includes people of all religions. And therefore, I didn't tweet that it's very difficult as a Muslim to do this. I tweeted that as a patriot, it's difficult to do this, right? And my God, if saying I, as a patriot, this difficult to do was misunderstood or send people into a tizzy. If I'd said as a Muslim it's difficult to do this, what would have happened to me? I mean, I would have been left with nothing at all.
When the delegation was in Kuala Lumpur, I believe Pakistan had sent out a statement slamming the diplomatic move.
Very, very peevish and very, very puerile. I don't even think that we should answer or respond to anything like that. It was at the fag end of our trip. They put out a press release saying that India is all wrong and India is trying to mislead you and so on and so forth. But I don't think that it merits a reply at all.
The Pahalgam terror attack, was that also something that,
That was
many
the
questions
core.
were asked
That
about?
was the core. And people were well informed about the Pahalgam terror attack. But that was the core that we had to concentrate on. And how we responded to that attack is what we had to tell them. And they were deeply impressed. They were impressed by our objectivity. They were impressed by our restraint. They were impressed by the manner in which we handled the attack, etc. It was very greatly rewarding that people thought that we were competent, efficient, and we were very precise. The word precision appealed, in fact, particularly in Japan, it appealed a lot. The word precision, it appealed a lot. And that was very satisfying.
But do you think they were convinced by the delegation,
I think
how
they were
it conveyed?
I think they were convinced. I believe that we made a mark. I believe that they absorbed what we had to say. And in the weeks and months to come now, I'm sure that in their conduct in multilateral agencies, etc., we will see some impact of what we've been able to do.
Now that you're back from the visit, if you were to reflect on the delegation, what would be the three key takeaways?
The three key takeaways, frankly, there's nothing that you could have improved upon in the delegation or the arrangements that were made by the ambassadors and high commissioners that we encountered. Preparation, material, etc. Wonderfully well equipped with everything. I don't believe that there was any problem. I certainly would have been more comfortable if each of the political parties put out something before we went, right, to show that this is what is the mandate and the parameters of what we have asked our people to do. In fact, if the opposition parties had been able to meet together before the names were finalized, it would be even better. So it would seem like a coordinated, combined corporate effort that everybody has put in. But everything was done so fast and so quickly that sort of didn't happen. In fact, ideal thing would have been if there was a clear meeting of minds between those who were dealing about this in the government with the political parties and those who were handling it for the political parties, the opposition political parties, and they had put out something unitedly, because there was not going to be any difference on what we were going to do abroad. And therefore, if the parties were seen as standing together on that, irrespective of the differences they have in local politics and domestic politics, that would have helped. I believe that would have been a very useful thing. It would have added positive flavor to what we finally managed to do ourselves.
Well, what next? A debriefing, as you said, has
That's
already
over.
taken place. What next now?
Well, I don't know. Frankly, the debriefing is over. So whatever we could do, the government has the benefit of. Now the government has to continue because the diplomats have to continue working, and whatever lead we have given or whatever level we have been able to take our conversations to, now they have to continue with it. And possibly some more efforts to reach out to those countries that may still be a little bit uncertain and wavering and so on. Maybe some more effort should be put in there.
Well, thank you so much for your time. This is Neelam Pandey reporting with Varsha from New Delhi.